What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of Giants Collective, a Giants post game. We're going to see how this goes, and maybe we do this going forward and maybe not. As usual, the Giants lose. And as usual, I'm joined by Entertainah and Adriana. Anthony couldn't join us. Anthony was stuck in MetLife Stadium with really cold weather and really shitty football. We hope he had a good time.
He might have been the only person at the game. He might have been the only person there.
He was one of the few, and it was very, very empty, without question. But as always, we appreciate you tuning in and supporting us here in Giants Collective. You can check us out on TikTok and Instagram. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple. If you listen to us on Apple, could leave us a 5-star review. That would be great. If you're watching us or hearing us on YouTube, hopefully you'll hit the thumbs up because it does help us out a lot. And subscribe to the channel because, again, even though the Giants season is pretty much over in the regular season, our season begins in the offseason. There's going to be a lot of changes without question. This portion of Giants Collective, of course, as always, brought to you by Duer. The holidays are here, and this year I'm not stressing about what to wear because I'll be wearing my Duers. These are the most comfortable pants I own, and they make me look good. I've been recommending Duer to all my friends. These are my favorite jeans to wear for any occasion. I can really tell a difference with Duer's high-quality, temperature-regulating Cool Max fabrics. They keep me warm, but I don't overheat. Duer invented the original performance denim, and they give us the best of both worlds, combining classic jeans wear and the kind of comfort and performance you get from athletic wear. It's time to experience the comfort of Duer. I know you'll love these babies, so make sure you go to shopduer.com. That is shopduer, DUER.com/Giants Collective for 15% off your first order, or the easiest way to go about that is simply by clicking the link in the description. And they do make a really good holiday gift, or they make a really good pair of jeans or clothes for you as well. We always start the lady first. Giants lose 28-21. Give us your recap, your thoughts about today's debacle against the Washington Redskins. I mean, the Commanders. They'll always be the Redskins to me.
Abdul Carter, love you. So great to finally see him come out and have a great game. Him and Burns were the highlights of the defense. But overall, like thinking about last week, the fact that JJ McCarthy and that god-awful Vikings team put up 31 points against the Commanders, and the Commanders scored 0 points against the Vikings defense compared to 29 against us. Disaster, our special teams, more disasters. Younghoe Koo missing 2 field goals. Also the punt return for a touchdown in back-to-back weeks. Just some disasters overall per usual. And on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, I'm mostly disappointed in them because the Commanders have one of the worst defenses, especially passing defense in the NFL, that I thought at the very least would be able to move the ball a bit more through the air. So I was disappointed. I felt like there were maybe some miscommunications between the receivers and Hurt. I don't really know what the truth is there, but that Jalen Hyatt interception, multiple times Wan'Dale Robinson, like I don't know if he was in the wrong spot or Dart was throwing the ball in the wrong spot, but I was happy to see Dart slide, happy to see him make some really nice throws, make good decisions with the ball, held on to it well, even though he took a couple hits. And, he was better this week than he was last week. So I just want to see him continue to improve, but I am a little disappointed in the offense, but Daniel Bellinger, my guy, love to see him involved. So that was nice.
3 straight catches. Yeah.
Chris, we obviously did the game together. We sit through another 3 hours, almost 4 hours of absolute bullshit. What was your takeaway from the game?
More of the same. But I mean, there was some good individual performances, of course, like Adriana led with. The storyline of the game is, the storyline of the game, we still have the first overall pick. But in terms of the players on the team, the storyline of the game is Abdul Carter looked like an elite player today. He looked like a Pro Bowl caliber player today. He had the monster sack, which was a 3-point play because it knocked him out of field goal range. Of course, had the forced fumble that gave us an opportunity to even potentially win that game because the Commanders seemed to be wanting to give it away. He had 2 or 3 other tackles for loss. So he was tremendous today. He was the best football player on the field on both sides of the ball for either team. So that was great to see, right? Like that's the one player that I've been saying week in and week out the last 3 or 4 weeks that I want to see continue to grow and get better over the course of the remainder of the season. Well, we certainly saw it today. You started to see glimpses of it last game too. So that was great. I thought Tyrone Tracy actually had a very good game. He made that great catch on the ball thrown, and it was a good throw by Dart as well on that play. But he made that great catch. He ran the ball effectively. He had a rushing touchdown as well. So he had a really good game. Theo Johnson had a couple of splash plays, but Darius Slayton continues to have massive drop problems. Dropped the easy slant for about 10 yards. I think it would have been a first down. Then, of course, the touchdown, which, to be fair to Slayton, it was a tough play, but you got to come up with that. It hit both hands. And the run defense is still just absolutely pathetic. Pathetic, the Giants' run defense. They gave up over 100 yards in like the first 2.5 quarters. They continue to not be able to stop the run, and Washington had their way with us. I don't know. Kafka, questionable challenge at the beginning of the game, 2 minutes into the game. Didn't really understand that decision by Kafka. As we said, even if he won the challenge, Bad Dog, as we said during the live stream, it's going to be 4th and an inch, and they're going to get it anyway. So it wasn't, that was a questionable decision on his part. But overall, Bad Dog, it's kind of what I expected. I thought it would be a sloppy game that we would have a chance to win just because the Commanders are so bad. And we did. And we found a way to lose it. Dart rebounded. He had a really tough first half, but he rebounded and played very well in the second half. So that was good to see. And he continues to impress me. Needs to work on the deep ball. Like we said throughout the live stream, he missed on 2 or 3 deep balls, but overall, Dart had a pretty strong game.
My takeaway is this: it's laughable how bad they are. It just is. I mean, every week we find something to laugh at. Again, Koo missing 2. Why are we lining up to kick 50?
That's the other thing I meant to point out, Bad Dog. If it's another game that reminds me, if Joe Shane properly rostered a kicker, we would have won the game. We would have won the game. He missed 2 field goals, and then at the end of the game, had he made the 2 field goals, a field goal would have won the game, rather than us having to score a touchdown. So that meant to bring that up. That's another game that Joe Shane cost us by not properly rostering a kicker at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I mean, Goodo's got to be gone. Like, I'm going to keep pounding the table for Tate Sandell, 4th round pick. I don't care. In this league, kickers are very, very important. I mean, we're seeing guys kick from 60, 65 yards like they're old extra points. Like, these guys are making 65, 68-yard field goals. We don't have a guy that can kick a 40-yard field goal on this team. And it kills us because you're not always going to score touchdowns. Sometimes your drive is going to fizzle out of the opponent's 35-yard line. And in this day and age, you need a kicker that can kick a 50-yard field goal. That's basic for them now. So, yes, I'm dead ass serious. And I say in the 4th round, they should draft Tate Sandell from Oklahoma. He's the best kicker in the country.
Yeah.
They need a kicker. They really do. It's stupid with all the problems we have in this team. But I swear to God, that has been such a black hole in this team for a couple of years now. And it always comes back to beat us at the end. So it's just funny how we're talking about a drunk, liquored up idiot kicker. Remember Peyton Manning talking about Mike Van years ago. But yeah, the Giants always find a way to lose. The last 2 weeks, special teams has been atrocious. It's been one of their strong points this year. But like you mentioned, Adriana, back-to-back weeks, giving up a punt return for a touchdown, putting us in a deeper hole than we needed to be. Defense continues to suck. Can't tackle. Can't stop the run to save their life. Abdul Carter we'll get into Abdul Carter right after this, but Carter, by far his best game as a Giant, constant pressure, almost blocked a kick too, jumped right over the center, almost blocked the field goal, had a sack, I thought he had a couple forced fumbles. I thought he forced a fumble on the sack, and then I thought he ripped the ball out from the running back, and he recovered it. On top of that, he had 3 tackles for loss. He was at the facility early a lot this week, and again, this speaks to the fact Kafka is losing ground as a head coach. I don't think anybody's going to hire him as a head coach because Carter did not respond to Kafka or Dable. But when Lawrence Taylor says, "Bro, you got to be better than this. Like you have to show up. Like you have to try." One talk from the GOAT, and the guy played like Lawrence Taylor. You know what I mean? I mean, he's not Lawrence Taylor, but that's the shit Lawrence Taylor used to do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And we know. Watching Carter at Penn State, that's the type of stuff that he has. We haven't seen it. We saw it today. Hope going forward with a brand new GM and a brand new head coach, a brand new defense coordinator, and a new lease on life going into a new season. That's the type of guy we see every game. I hope that he continues to do that the rest of the year. okay, because the Vikings are not very good. McCarthy's not a good quarterback. He should really get pressure. The Raiders are god-awful. They're worse than us. So I just want to see Carter. I put it on Twitter. I just want to see him finish the season strong, and he got off to a great start today. Jackson Dart, bad first half. I feel like they told him, don't run, be cautious, be scared. In the second half, I don't know if they told him anything differently. He just said, fuck this, I'm playing the way I do it. And he played great. In the second half, he was great. That's a Jackson Dart we saw most of the year. He had a big run. He was throwing really good passes. Like you mentioned, Slayton dropped a couple big ones. He threw a nice pass to Wan'Dale Robinson. He threw a great pass to Tyrone Tracy. Hit Theo down the seam for a big play. Again, he's a rookie. He's definitely got to work on his mechanics throwing the ball deep. It's not good right now. And the interception, yeah, part of it's Dart, but Hyatt's not finishing the route, and he's got to at least knock the ball away. He just doesn't fight. He don't fight for the ball, and he shouldn't be on this team anyway. And we're going to see a lot of changes in the offseason for sure. So to build more on Abdul Carter's performance, Chris, what else did you take out of this? What kind of is this just a one-game thing for Carter? Do you think he'll continue to play well going forward? Obviously, this has to be a huge confidence booster for him.
Yeah, no, I think he's just going to continue to improve going forward. I think a lot of people are, and rightfully so, he was the 3rd overall pick, but I think a lot of people were putting too high of expectations on a rookie, right? I frequently bring up Jason Pierre-Paul, who was, I think, the 12th overall pick. He was like a top 12, 15 pick, whatever it was. He didn't do a whole lot his rookie year. I think he only had like 2 sacks, 2.5 sacks. Second year, he had like 16 sacks. So you see players, especially at that position, a lot of times it'll take a year to really hit your stride in the NFL. So I think we're going to start to continue to see that here, hopefully for the last 3 games for Abdul Carter. But the talent's off the charts. The only question with Abdul Carter at this point in time is, does he have the work ethic, right? That's what people have been questioning over the last 2 or 3 weeks. That's why Carl Banks came out and said what he said. And this is encouraging. We heard things that he was showing up earlier. And today he looked like the player that we expected when we drafted him 3 overall. I think this is only going to continue. He's too talented. And I expect him to have a massive second season next year for the New York Giants. I think double-digit sacks next year.
Adriana, what do you think about Abdul Carter's overall performance today? What do you think going forward the rest of the year?
I loved it. This is the Abdul Carter that so many of us thought we were getting week 1 as soon as they drafted him. So I was glad to see that. You know, you talked about the Lawrence Taylor thing, but we heard these reports coming out that, you know, he's been more invested this week and he's been watching more film and comes in early and leaves late and the whole thing. And, you know, I think it's just a good reminder too that these guys are really young, and unfortunately some of them have to learn the hard way. I also have heard Carl Banks say that they drafted Abdul Carter with no plan for him. So I think that probably was a big part of it, having a bad defensive coordinator who did not know what to do with him and how to use him to his strengths. And I don't think Charlie Bullen is the best option for defensive coordinator, but you know, obviously Kayvon being injured helped. And I think that the Charlie Bullen just has a better idea and knows Abdul Carter probably better than Shane Bowen did, and the best way to utilize him, which obviously I think we saw some of his strengths today. So whatever it took, whether it was Lawrence Taylor or it was being embarrassed twice out of 3 weeks and having to be benched and stuff like that, I don't care what it took, but I just hope now that the lesson is learned and he's going to take that and move forward and continue to make progress. So I'm excited to watch him grow. Obviously, it's been a rough year for everyone, but I want to see him just finish out the season strong at this point and have a new defensive coordinator who's going to know what to do with him, knowing that they have Kayvon Burns and Abdul Carter under contract next year. So looking forward to that. But I just think it's a good representative of what we can look forward to with Carter. And I hope that this is just the beginning for him. I know every single one of us were absolutely thrilled when he was drafted that night, how much we talked about it and look forward to it. And I hope that this is just a preview of what's to come.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what you can't do it every game, but we definitely expected more of these games and less. And he's shown flashes, but it's been rare that he dominated the game. And the funny thing is, even with how good he was, our defense was still absolutely fucking horrible. I mean, the one pass, I think it was to McLaurin, where there was nobody within 5 yards of him. And then Belton two of the guys missed the tackles. He walked into the end zone. I just don't understand the lack of tackling on this team. And Abdul Carter, like I said, did everything he could. He forced 2 fumbles. He recovered a fumble. He had 3 tackles for loss. He had a sack. I mean, he's one guy. But that's what you expect to see. You expect to see a game wrecker. And he was that. And hopefully that is the way he plays more often going forward. We've talked about it a lot. You can be a great player. You can have great talent. But if you don't put in the work, it's not going to show up on Sundays. These guys all work hard. They're all NFL players. They're way better than the talent you're going against, even on against the best college teams. And Abdul Carter, maybe he got it. Maybe it, whatever the hell it was, whatever snapped him out of it and said, hey, man, I got to show up to the facility. I got to put in the work. I have to invest myself in this team. I have to invest myself in myself. And I have to play better and I have to try harder. Whatever the hell happened between the last couple of weeks where he was, suspended or whatever, held out for the first quarter. And this week, he was way different. You saw it immediately from the first play of the game. Yeah. Carter was ready to rock and roll. He played great. So, again, there's not much you can take out of the Giants this season as far as, like, good things. There's just not. When you're 2-12, it's hard to find anything to really say, hey, that was good. But, again, it's Abdul Carter. It's one game. Let's hope that it's a stepping stone for him, and he continues to show up early, and he continues to put in the work and watch extra film and do whatever the hell he has to do to be the player that he was today, because the Giants are going to need that. This year is a wash, but get ready for next year, man. Build on shit for next year. You mentioned Adriana. They had no plan for him. Get a defensive coordinator that has a fucking plan for the best pass rusher that came out of that draft. Get a defensive coordinator that has a plan for an incredible pass rush, an incredible front seven that for some reason they don't know what the hell they're doing out there. And the secondary, I mean, I don't even, we could do a whole show on the secondary. It's pathetic what that secondary is. I don't understand. I just don't understand anything here. The defense has been terrible all year. Offense, not bad. It's not great, but considering there's no Malik Neighbors, no Scattaboo, and you have a rookie quarterback, and you've had Jameis, and you've had Russ, and you've had 2 different head coaches, and it's what it is. I feel like the offense hasn't been bad. They've been good enough to win games. The defense has consistently let us down, and the fact that we can't kick field goals doesn't do anybody any favors either. I don't know, man. It's just been a very tough year, to say the least, which leads me into the next, ad read, which is this portion is brought to us by our friends at Manta Sleep. And again, if you are a Giants fan, you definitely need one of these to watch the games on Sunday without question. Adriana's dog wore one on Thursday night. It was he or she was. Is it a he or she?
A she.
She was sound asleep. I like to give these to my dog as well. It keeps her very calm at night. It blocks out all light and everything else. If you're tired of waking up before your alarm because the sun hits your face, the Manta Original Sleep Mask blocks out every bit of light so you can actually stay asleep. It has true 100% blackout. It blocks out all light, even around the nose and sides for complete darkness. Adjustable eye cups, soft memory foam cups that can be positioned to fit your face perfectly without any eye pressure. Soft, lightweight, breathable materials that keep you comfortable all night and won't overheat. Plus, it has a fully adjustable strap that fits all head sizes and stays in place through the night. You can go to mantasleep.com where you can get the Manta Sound Mask and check out all their other sleep masks and accessories. And when you do that, when you check out, make sure you enter the promo code NYG to get 10% off your order at Manta Sleep. Adriana, what did you think about Jackson Dart as a whole today? I mean, obviously good and bad, but what did you think overall about his performance?
Yeah, I feel like, last week before the bye, I felt like he was a little rusty coming off the concussion. Had a little bit of a slow start again this week, but I really feel like the second half, he kind of turned it on a little bit and was able to fix some of the issues that they had in the first. Obviously, if there were miscommunications with the wide receivers, the drop balls from Darius Slayton, one of which was on a 3rd and 5, which converts the second one a touchdown. One of the things I said that I wanted to see from Dart is to trust your wide receivers. And I know he's not really getting help from some of them. It's not his fault, but I feel like he did a really great job of getting through his reads, making smart decisions. He didn't put the ball in harm's way. That one interception was, on Jalen Hyatt, I saw a stat from Doug Analytics that said that Hyatt has led to 7 interceptions with, multiple different quarterbacks, and Dart has had at least 2 of them. So, that was that. I feel like, after that, there was one hit that he took early on in the game. And I remember people saying this about Daniel Jones, that they felt like in order for him to really be locked in and ready, he had to take a hit from a linebacker or one of the defensive players. And then he was ready to go. And I had that exact same feeling watching Dart today. He took this hit, luckily no head hits the ground or whatever. And then all of a sudden he's good. Then he's ready to slide and dive and get out of bounds and whatnot. So I feel like he did a much better job today. I really feel like he didn't put himself in harm's way. He was good about, noticing where the guys were coming from. There obviously were no dirty hits, so that helped. But I feel like there's a lot to like moving forward. I want to see him continue to improve over the next couple of weeks. I think it's important that he plays. And I think this game was a great example of that. It doesn't matter whether you're going against an awful defense or a good defense. We saw one particular instance where the clock started to run down and he noticed what the defense was planning to run. So he adjusted and changed the play call on the fly. So all of that stuff is important to him learning and getting better week after week. So I liked what I saw. I think there were things that he definitely improved upon. The biggest thing for me was the fact that he was willing to slide and dive and try his best to, not really take those hits. So yeah, overall, good day. I think not great, not horrible.
Yeah.
Chris, what did you think about Dart and his performance today?
Yeah, I thought overall he played well. I mean, he was sloppy in the first half for sure. I put the interception, even though it was a bad interception, right? Especially at that stage in the game, it was kind of a 6-point swing because we would have gotten in field goal range, or we probably would have missed the kick if we're being honest with our kickers. But it was kind of a 6-point.
Right.
It gave them an opportunity to get 3 points before the half, and that was huge. But like Adriana said, and like I said during the game, when we got an opportunity to watch that replay, there were people fighting with us in the chat saying that we weren't being hard enough on Dart. That interception.
That was Twitter. That was Twitter when I put that out. They're not really the chat, but Twitter.
Okay.
They were
that interception to me was much more on Jalen Hyatt than it was on Jackson Dart. That was a sloppy route, as we've become accustomed to with Jalen Hyatt. And to Adriana's other point, and that's what I said last week or last show. What the most important thing for me with Jackson Dart for the last 4 games was going to be was to play smarter, try to avoid hits when necessary, and I thought he did a good job with that in this game. As a matter of fact, in the one play where he got hurt, where he went into the blue tent, even though I don't think it probably had much to do with the hit because he was kind of grabbing his hip, I actually thought he did a good job of avoiding contact on that play. So, overall, I thought Dart played, especially the second half, played really well. If Darius Slayton holds on to that ball, we win the football game, and Jackson Dart would have been, had a lot to do with that. So, I think it's crazy that I know it's a fraction of the fan base, but that there's even a fraction of the fan base that's talking about drafting Mendoza. I think it's absolutely insane. And by no means am I coming on here telling you that I think Jackson Dart is the second coming of Patrick Mahomes. I think he's got a lot more to prove before I'm willing to, put the flag in the ground and say he's definitely a franchise quarterback. But he has definitely shown me more than enough in his rookie year with all the limitations on this offense. Mm-hmm. No Neighbors, no Scadaboo. Andrew Thomas was out for a portion of the year. You're going in and out with different head coaches. I think he's done more than enough for me to want to see more from him next year. And we're not a quarterback away. We need to continue to build this roster, and the Giants are going to have a golden opportunity with that. If we have the first overall pick, we'll see if we continue to lose. But whatever pick we have, we're going to have a golden opportunity to continue to build up this roster for Jackson Dart so we can hopefully continue to get better. But that Mendoza talk, that stuff needs to stop.
The Mendoza talk is ridiculous because what are you going to do? Are you going to trade Jackson Dart? Yeah. Why would you get rid of a guy that obviously can play at this level and he's on a rookie contract? Why would you waste it? Especially when there's so many other holes on this team, like our linebacking core, like our secondary, like a number 2 receiver that can actually hang on to the football. Why would you want to take a quarterback number 1 overall when you can trade that pick with the Jets or the Raiders and you're going to get a king's ransom for that pick? It's just stupid talk. Jackson Dart is not the reason the Giants are losing football games. Jackson Dart has not been. Maybe you want to say the game against the Saints. He had a bad game there. The Giants overall had a bad game there where they turned the ball over 5 times. But throwing 1 interception, having 4 interceptions in 9 starts, and a couple of fumbles is not the reason you're losing, especially when he has 19 or 20 total touchdowns. The offense has been much better because of Jackson Dart. There was a stat today that showed the Giants for 4 years between 2021 and 2024 had 6 opening drives for touchdowns. This year they have 6 alone, and Jackson Dart, I think, has 5 of them. So it's definitely not on him. And he's done this without Malik Neighbors. He's done this without Cam Scatterwood. Like I just mentioned, he's done this with a lot of changes and being injured and coming back and everything else on a team that has no reason to play. And it's obvious they checked out. Just watch Hard Knocks. These guys don't give a shit. Jackson Dart plays hard every week and be stupid. I don't understand and why people would say anything bad about him. He's a rookie, for Christ's sakes. He's going to make mistakes. He's got to get better. He's not a finished product. He's not Josh Allen. But my God, I mean, give him Malik Neighbors back. Give him Cam Scatterwood back. Give him a legitimate coaching staff. And help build the offensive line and keep building around him. He's obviously can play at this level. So far, he looks like the best quarterback out of this draft class, without question. I know Shore had a great week last week, but that's against Titans. What do you do today? These rookies have up and down games all the time. So, again, you can't get too high on a performance. You can't get too low on a performance. He had a bad first half. Felt like he had a very good second half. Felt like he played good enough for the Giants to win the game, and he was let down by his receiver, Darius Slayton, who should not be dropping passes. And, the interception, not totally on Jalen Hyatt, but not totally on Jackson Dart either. Jalen Hyatt's just not a good receiver. We know that. So I like Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart's a fighter. I think that he has the right mentality. I think he's very good off script. And I think in the NFL, that's something you definitely need. Not only did he make plays and get out of the pocket and everything else, when he gets out of the pocket, it extends plays. Chris, you saw it today. There was 2 defensive holdings or illegal contact because he was able to extend the play, and it's harder for a cornerback or safety to hold up coverage for that long without grabbing somebody when your quarterback is making people miss and extending plays with his legs. I like him. I don't like the way they used him a couple times. Why they're running RPOs between the tackles after he goes in the tent is fucking beyond me. Why you're running that play. I'm not saying take Dart's legs away, but can we not have scripted runs for him down on the 5-yard line in between the tackles? Can we do something different there? I don't really understand that call. I think they did the same shit on 3rd down and 1 or whatever it was, or from the 1-yard line they did that. Why don't you just quarterback sneak?
I think it was first down. I think it was
first down. Yeah. Why don't you just quarterback sneak?
Yeah.
At that point. I mean, why? I don't know. Some of the play calling is very wonky, but hopefully, like I said, next year we get a much better, play caller and head coach and Jackson Dart. I have plenty of faith in Jackson Dart until he gives me a reason not to. I feel like he's had a really good season, considering all the circumstances around him. So, I have a lot of confidence in Jackson Dart. We have come to the Q&A portion of the show, which we always appreciate you guys and girls asking questions in the chat. And of course, as always, it is brought to us by our friends at SeatGeek. Go to the description, click on that link, enter the promo code Giants Collective 10 for 10% off your tickets at SeatGeek. Again, it doesn't just need to be the Giants. Remember that. I mean, obviously, we do Giants Collective here. The ad read is about the Giants and the game today, but obviously there's a lot of other things you can get on SeatGeek besides Giants tickets. You can get concerts, you can get basketball, you can do some baseball, this or whatever you want to do. Let's hear from them. 80 seconds back at this with your questions. What's going on, guys and gals? You looking for a fun activity? You want to get out of the house? You need something to do? Are you looking for a great gift idea? Well, if so, look no farther than the sponsor of Giants Collective, which is SeatGeek. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There's more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. Giants season is underway. And say you want to check out Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders at MetLife Stadium? Well, it's easy. Just go to SeatGeek, scroll around, look for the tickets that you want, and SeatGeek's going to have your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. That's good. The red dots, well, it's not so good. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use the code Giants Collective for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with the promo code Giants Collective. Make sure you click that link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek, for sponsoring Giants Collective, and let's go Giants! I'm wearing the same shirt I wore during the ad read when I was excited about the Giants. I'm excited about that first overall pick at this juncture, without question. Let's get to some of these questions in the chat. Jason, thank you, buddy. He says, we really need to spend at that inside linebacker position. Okereke ain't it. Musa is so slow. We need some talent infusion at that position, in my opinion.
100%. You know, we talk about Abdul Carter not reaching his potential. I think that has a lot to do with it. I've said it countless times. When you can't stop the run and fixing the middle linebacker and hopefully bulking up the interior defensive line will obviously assist with that. It makes it a lot harder to be able to get it to the quarterback when you become super predictable, when they can just run the ball, get into third and short situations. So that, to me, from a defensive standpoint, that has to be priority number one this offseason. Get a long-term piece of that middle linebacker position that's athletic, that you can move around. That has to be our number one priority on defense, along with, of course, bulking up the secondary, which is god-awful. Yeah, that has to be number one priority. We need that middle linebacker. We haven't drafted a middle linebacker early since Carl Banks, which is insane to me. So that needs to be priority number one because we got to fix the run defense. We're the worst in the league. We are at an historical clip in terms of yards per carry against. That is not where you want to be.
Yep. That's one of the positions that I'm actually really excited about because I feel like it has the potential to make such a big impact on this team, assuming we get it right and get a good linebacker. But I'm going to be really curious to see what they do about Micah McFadden. There's talk of him maybe coming back this year. And I think if he's able to play at least the last 2 games and make some plays, it could help him from a contract perspective. But I just feel like our linebacking core is such a mess. And if there's talk of them potentially cutting Bobby Okereke. If they do that, we're looking at Darius Muasau. So, like, you better re-sign Micah along with getting someone in the draft, seeing if there's a stud linebacker available in free agency. Like, that really has to be a position that this new GM focuses on. And I know they didn't announce that Joe Schoen is getting fired, but between the press conference, like, there's just no way they're keeping him at this point. So I'm going under the assumption that we're going to have a new GM. And I'm hoping that their big focus is stopping the run, actually, and bringing in some good linebackers. So that supposedly is going to be a heavy linebacker class. So that should benefit us.
The linebacking position has been atrocious. I mean, it's just awful because once the running backs do get out of that first level, nobody makes a tackle. Musa shouldn't even play. I mean, he's a 6th-round pick. I mean, it's a guy who's supposed to be filler. He shouldn't be starting. Losing McFadden obviously was a big blow to this team at the beginning of the year, but our running defense still wasn't good. Well, Karake's gone. I don't see how you can keep him. You save $9 million by cutting him. There are good linebackers in this class without question. I think Micah McFadden could come back on the cheap, though. I don't think you're going to have to pay him a lot of money coming off an injury. I don't think he's going to command a ton of money. But I do think a new GM definitely has to make a concerted effort. That has been a position we've neglected for a really long time. We've kind of patched it together. Think about it. McFadden's a 5th-round pick. I mean, he's our starter, and Muasau was a 6th-round pick, and he's starting. And Okereke was a guy that had a good first year, but has gone down precipitously since his first year here. Maybe a lot of that has to do with
Blake Martinez prior to that. Same thing.
Correct. Yes. Blake Martinez, great example there.
Yeah.
Adriana talked about signing a stud line. I'm going to keep saying these 2 damn words until it happens. Nakobe Dean. Fucking Nakobe Dean. Sign him. Take a guy away from Philadelphia. Okay? Take a guy away from Philly. Nakobe Dean can play that position. Nakobe Dean is a fucking beast. And when he blitzes, you saw Okereke get a free shot. He missed. When you watched Nakobe Dean get a free shot at the quarterback against who the hell did they play the other night? The Chargers, he got there. He got 2 sacks. He forced a fumble. That's the guy I want on the team. That's the type of linebacker the Giants need. is Nakobe Dean. So you can draft one, you can sign McFadden. You need depth. So, man, I like Nakobe Dean. Give me a freaking guy like Nakobe Dean that can actually play the position. But they got to get somebody in here because the linebacking core of the Giants is a total embarrassment. And then when you get farther out and you get to the next level, which is the secondary, fucking forget about it. I mean, I could run through that secondary. I'm 50 years old, for Christ's sakes. I mean, if they caught me, I'd be dead, but they might not catch me because their angles of pursuit are ass. And I probably run like a 5 flat 40, but I don't know that they could catch me anyway with how slow they look out there. So who cares? It's terrible. It's awful. They're not good. Jason, thank you again. He says, I understand everyone wants Shane gone, which I'm on the fence about. But who's to say an UGM wouldn't draft Mendoza and trade Dart, afraid of a teardown?
You don't know that. You don't know. But the thing with Dart is, and he's played well, I don't think Dart is going to get you near, in terms of draft capital, what you would get if you were to trade out of the first overall pick. I think you would get a lot more compensation for the first overall pick than you would for Jackson Dart. And I like Dart, and I think Dart could continue to get better. But at the end of the day, he still only has a year worth of experience, not even a year's worth of experience. He's only got 2 wins to his name. The team hasn't been super successful. You would get something from him, but you're not going to get near the package that you would for the first overall pick. And I don't see a general manager coming in here seeing how well Dart played. I think Dart is a reason to want to take the job. I think that's a big part of why you would want to take the job, along with, of course, the first overall pick. I don't see why a general manager would want to. I don't think he's going to view Mendoza as like an Andrew Luck type quarterback prospect that you just draft him. Like it's a no-brainer, no doubter, like a Caleb Williams was thought to be. I don't view Mendoza like that, and I don't think the new general manager is going to view it like that. So if that's the case, even if he likes Mendoza, I think he's going to say, well, I got a good enough quarterback here. I could trade down, get so much draft capital, and continue to build this roster. And then in 2 years, if I want to draft a quarterback and I got a more complete roster, Jackson Dart was never my guy to begin with. And I could put my quarterback in the best possible situation. So I'd be stunned if a general manager came in, if the Giants had the first overall pick and took Mendoza. I think they're going to roll with Dart, and I think they're going to trade back if we have that first pick, and they're going to get more draft capital to continue to build this team.
Well, also, the thing with quarterbacks in the draft is there's such a gamble. You just don't know. And at least this new GM coming in could be like, well, I've seen almost a full year of Dart's play in the NFL without Malik Neighbors, without Scattaboo, with, Darius Slayton, who catches the ball maybe 50% of the time, with, the core that he has, with his coach getting fired, his offensive coordinator promoted to head coach, who's like not that great. So I think that you can look at Dart and say, I've seen enough to say that if I build around him well, we can have a playoff contending type of team. We can have a really good offense. Where with Mendoza, you don't really know. That's the biggest gamble with these guys. So you're taking a risk on someone, potentially the first overall pick, when you're looking at an offense like the Giants and saying, okay, well, if I'm going to trade Dart and keep Jameis as the backup and bring in Mendoza, I still have to upgrade players on the offense around him. So I just think it's a huge gamble, and one that I don't know if you're, especially if it's an assistant GM being promoted to GM, like I don't know if they're going to be willing to do that. So I think you can look at Dart and say, I've seen him play at the NFL level. Granted, it was only a year, but I've seen enough that I can build on by bringing in good coaching and helping him out with some good players this offseason. Where if you get a quarterback, there's still so much more that you have to do. I mean, and it's like, we're not even talking about the defense. So.
Right. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. You don't know what the hell you're getting. We've seen many quarterbacks be just look at the Jets, for Christ's sakes. It's all you got to look at. Look at teams that draft quarterbacks in the top 5 and they fail. You don't have a guy that's failed here. He has 20. Listen, this guy started 9 games for the Giants or 10 games, whatever it is. I think it's 9. Maybe it's 10.
9. Yeah, he was 2-6.
So he started 9. Okay, so he started 9 games. He has 21 total touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
And he's played, and it's not like he's played cupcakes either. Like
right, he had 5 touchdowns against. He had 5 touchdowns against Denver.
Yeah, and well, Jones's rookie year, he definitely had some highs. They were all against awful teams.
Right, like Washington,
Denver. He did this against Green Bay. Like he's played well.
Chicago, where Jalen Hurts could move the ball in Philly against that Chicago defense. Look at Sanders today against that Chicago defense. Dart was going to win the game. They would have won the game if Dart stayed in there.
And he did this all without Malik Neighbors, without the guys that we think are going to be his best weapons. And I think the weapons
and with guys dropping the ball on him all the time.
So I don't even understand why this is even creeping into anybody's head. I mean, I guess it just comes with the territory when you have the first pick. And I guess people are scared that a general manager may want to draft a quarterback. But I if anything, I think Dart is a reason why a general manager is going to want to come here. Because at a bare minimum,
they have the quarterback.
yeah, and at a bare minimum, even if he's not the quarterback, you have 2 years that you could build around where he's good enough where you could then get your quarterback 2 years later without any pressure. The second he drafts a Mendoza, when you already have Dart on the roster, his job's on the line. Like, why would you do that when you could just trade back, get so much draft capital to continue to build your roster? Unless you thought Mendoza was the second coming of Pat Mahomes.
He's not.
Yeah, if he walked into an interview and told John Mara that, well, then I wouldn't hire the guy. So that's my mindset on it. I'd be. They're going to roll with Jackson Dart. They're not drafting Mendoza.
Joe Schoen again. Joe Schoen has done some good things here. The Brian Burns trade was a hit without question. Yeah. His last year's draft looks pretty good. I mean, the Newman has not had a good year. We know that, but I think a lot of that has to do with coaching. But you look at his 2022 draft, and Wandale, we're talking about we should have to resign him. That's a hit. You talk about people could say you should have taken Pickens, but look at Pickens for crying out loud. He might be on his third team in 3 years because is Dallas going to give that guy a shitload of money when they're already paying Dak and CeeDee Lamb? I mean, where's Pickens going to end up? And would Pickens have made it through the Giants being 2-11, 2-12? You don't think he would have blown up the locker room at that point if we were this bad all the time, which we still would be? Cordell Flott is probably our best guy in the secondary. That was a hit. Talking about how much we're missing Micah McFadden. He was a 5th-round pick. That's it. Daniel Bellinger obviously can play the position. We felt like he's underutilized. That was a hit. So 2023 is a total whiff. It's terrible. Obviously, Evan Neal was a miss, but nobody complained when we drafted Evan Neal. Scadaboo looks like the real deal. Dart looks like the real deal. Carter today looked like the Carter that we thought we were getting when we drafted him. Theo Johnson has really played well here down the stretch. I mean, Theo has had some drop problems, but Theo can fucking play. That's a hit. That's a fourth. We haven't seen what Marcus Bo can do. So, and he's got us out of cap hell. He's done good things, but he's also done bad things. And regardless, the results are not showing up. Week in, week out, we continue to lose. And I just feel like if you're going to start over, we have seen this when they kept Reese in place and they hired McAdoo. Did not work. Then we kept we kept Gettleman in place. We hired Joe Judge. That did not work. Don't do that again. Get a GM that has no pressure. I'm not saying they should come in and go, we can fuck it up and lose a bunch of games, but get a GM that has no pressure immediately. He's not going to get fired in 1 year. And that way you're going to get the best head coaching candidates. Because if you're a head coaching candidate and you're looking at Joe Schoen and you're looking at a team that's won, 5 out of their last 31 games and sitting there going, if I get off to a bad start, I have no rope. I have no leeway. I have no slack. If we're 2-6, because say Jackson Dart got hurt, God forbid, or they just start off bad again, which is the way the Giants play. Not Joe Schoen is going, you're gone. It doesn't matter what you do. If he's gone, a new GM's coming in there and they're hiring a whole new group of guys. You just have to hit the reset button. Joe Schoen has got us where we have a good young core. We have a healthier cap situation. It looks like we have our quarterback. That is very desirable for a new GM to come in and go, I don't need to worry about that. If we have the number 1 pick, I can trade back and I can build around this kid. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to get the head coaches and the defense coordinator and the offense coordinator. I think that can really be good for Jackson Dart and this team. And you go from there. I like Joe Schoen, but you can't keep him. There's just no way. There's just no way.
You can't keep him.
That you can. H5000 says, don't cherry pick Schoen as a joke. Well, I mean, I don't think I'm cherry picking.
You have to talk about some of the good things he's done because he hasn't. Not every single thing he's done has been bad.
You literally just ran over his entire draft class. It's not like you picked out one player in the draft class. You ran off the entire 2022 draft class. That's not cherry picking,
right? And I said Evan Neal was a miss, and I said the 2023 class was a complete whiff.
Yeah, that's not cherry picking. Cherry picking would be picking out one player from the class and not pointing out the negatives to it. So that's not, he didn't cherry
right.
He told you that basically the 2022 draft class outside of the Evan Neal pick, which knocks down the class, like I said when we had the discussion, down to a C for me, regardless of how good the other picks are, because it was the 7th overall pick. Outside of that, though, all the players are good. The Kayvon is a decent pick. I'd give that pick a C, but when you look at the other picks, Wan'Dale's at least a B for a 2nd-round pick. Cordell Flott's at least a B for a 3rd-round pick. McFadden's a good pick. So I think you're right on with that. I think overall it was a pretty strong draft class in 22. 23, every pick's a miss, outside of potentially JMS, which still may be a miss.
Yeah. That's the thing. Some people just hate Joe Shane with a passion, and they won't give him any credit. And that's the way it goes with a lot of things. You know, some people just won't look at any good thing. They have their own agenda, their tunnel vision. They don't have critical thinking and can't just say, he's done good, he's done bad. You know, the guy's not perfect, and obviously we're not winning football games, and he needs to be replaced. That's just it. But you can't sit there and go, his entire tenure was awful and that he didn't do some good things for the Giants, because he did. But should he be the GM going forward? Absolutely not. He should not be. And the same guy just said Pickens better than Wan'Dale. Talent-wise, yes. Why is George Pickens not on the Steelers? Why is he not there? It's not because he's not talented.
He's a headache.
Why isn't he there? Why isn't he there? And do you think that he would have lasted here with the quarterback turnover in this place and the constant losing? Probably not. So again, hindsight being the Wan'Dale Robinson pick was good. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It is what it is, but Mendoza's no. Somebody else mentioned Arch Manning. Number one, Arch Manning is going back to college. Mm-hmm. And number two, Arch Manning don't look that good. So just because your last name is Manning doesn't mean you're going to be great. I like Jackson Dart. Why are you even talking about quarterbacks, man? We have our quarterback.
This team has so many other problems. Like the fact that people are like, oh, we should be getting Mendoza. Like, no, if you've watched Giants football at all this year, the only thing you should be thinking is with the number 1 overall pick, we can trade out of that and get a haul, which is what we need to upgrade this team.
Right. People complain about lack of depth here, and then they want to take Mendoza first overall.
We can't stop. We are literally having a historic season on defense that we are allowing 5.8 yards per carry on the ground. That is despicable. Yeah. It's literally historically bad, like everything else that this fucking Giants team has done under Joe Shane and Brian Daboll.
Yeah, without question.
So, Dart hasn't been perfect. No one's saying that. But to act like Mendoza is going to come in here and take us to the promised land is insane behavior.
Yeah. Jason, thank you, buddy. He says, a new GM and head coach will have immense pressure because next year will be expected to win games and get to the playoffs. Our issue is has them on the roster. They're not going to have immense pressure.
I agree with Baddog. I don't think it's going to be immense pressure either. I mean, I think that
pressure from the fans, but
yeah, of course, the fans.
Yeah, the fans always do.
Fans, yeah, but ownership. I don't think there'll be pressure because I think it's not their guy at the end of the day. Like if Jackson Dart completely fails, they have every reason to stick with him this year. He's on a rookie deal. He had a pretty strong rookie year. But if Jackson Dart fails and gets hurt next year and he sucks, they'll say that wasn't our guy. We'll draft our quarterback now. I don't think that they have any immense pressure from ownership. I think they gave Joe Shane and Brian Daboll 4 years. They're going to give the next group 4 years too. They gave Dave Gettleman 4 years. The new GM that comes in here is going to get at least 4 years to build the team, assuming Joe Shane is fired.
Yeah. Greg says, Bellinger is not a hit. Stop it, Baddog. Don't gaslight the chat. I don't think you know what gaslighting means. What's bad about Daniel Bellinger? He's a 4th round pick.
He's certainly a 5th round pick.
Oh, is he a 5th round pick? Okay.
Maybe he's a 4th. Maybe he's a 4th.
But how am I gaslighting? I'm not saying Daniel Bellinger is Travis Kelce, but the guy's been a starter for ever since he's been here. He can block and catch.
He wasn't a miss.
He's probably going to be cheap for a depth piece, which is what we need to do. We need to re-sign some of the cheap guys who can come back and be a depth piece because next year we're only going to have Theo Johnson and Thomas Fidone on the roster. And Thomas Fidone has been injured a good portion of this year and has barely played. So, they're probably not going to go after a tight end in the draft. So you re-sign Bellinger, so you have 3 tight ends, and then you see who you can bring in. Maybe they bring back Dulcich. I mean, depends on who the GM is and what they want to do. But we have to bolster depth on this team, and to go into next season with only those 2 guys at tight end is like insane. So they're going to have to bring in other people. Bellinger's not going to cost them an arm and a leg. They probably can do like a 2-year, I don't know, maybe like an $8 million deal. Like, I don't think he's going to be getting that much money. So just to have someone as a depth piece to pair with Theo, to pair with Vidoni, to play if someone gets injured, like they need to do stuff like that. You don't have to, pay him $100 million. Like he's not, again, we're not saying he's Travis Kelce, but you need depth on this team. And when you can do it cheaply, you have to do it that way and do it smartly.
I mean, remember how good Damian Bellinger looked his rookie year before somebody Ric Flaired his eyeball out of his skull. I mean, he was playing really good, and I think that he's very serviceable. I think he's a good blocking tight end, which you saw today. Theo is not, but that's what you need. You need 2 tight ends. You need a good blocking tight end. You need a receiving tight end. Daniel Bellinger can also catch the football. He's not Travis Kelce. He's not George Kittle. He's not asked to be that guy, but he's a good second string tight end. And if you don't have to pay him a lot of money, we talk about lack of depth. People complain about the lack of depth in the Giants. There's a depth piece at tight end. So
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Who's a better head coach, Tom Coughlin or Mike Kafka?
Coughlin.
Okay. Who had a better offensive line, the 2004 New York Giants or this New York Giants team?
2004 or this one? Yeah. 2004, our line wasn't really good. I think 2005 will got better.
All right. Was Tiki Barber better than any weapon on this current roster with Malik Neighbors hurt?
Yes.
Was Jeremy Shockey better than any weapon on this team with Malik Neighbors hurt?
Yes.
Was Monty Coomer better than any weapon on this team with Malik Neighbors hurt? Okay. And how did Eli Manning do in his rookie year with all that better talent around him?
It was awful.
Yeah.
So why the fuck are we talking about getting
rid of We were 5-4. Why
are we talking about
he was 1-6?
Who's that? Not that I'm comparing him to Eli Manning, but why are we talking about getting rid of Jackson Dart? He's shown promise this year. Let's grow with him. Like, I don't even. Why is this even a conversation? I have no idea. People
have been drinking during the game. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
People have been drinking during the game. This last portion of Giants Collective across all that stuff, brought to you by our good friends at Sleeper. Check out Sleeper, guys and girls. It is the fastest growing app out there with over 10 million users. Let's check out Sleeper, hear from them 30 seconds back after this for the rest of your questions.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top player. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using the code HMA. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Yeah, so check out Sleeper. Not only do they have that promotion going, if you click the link in the description and open a brand new Sleeper account, they're going to give you $20 just for opening a Sleeper account as long as you use that link. No deposit, no credit card, no debit card, no nothing. So just open a Sleeper account using our link. You get 20 free bucks to play with. And if you like it and want to play some more and make a deposit, you're still eligible for the promotion. $100, 100% up to $100 using the promo code HMA. Terms and conditions apply. Have fun with some cash. Test your sports knowledge at Sleeper. Jason says, love you guys in the conversation, but I'm just leery about hiring a new GM. Joe Shane's made mistakes. When he got us a quarterback, we have cap health, but I get it.
My one caveat to the cap health, which because I was one of those people who was like, Dave Gettleman screwed over the cap, which he did, and Joe Shane needs to get us out of it. But I look at all of these other teams, like the Saints and like the Eagles and the Rams, who like sometimes are in cap hell at the end of the season and in the summer, and then it's miraculously fixed by the time the season starts. So I think cap health is important because you don't want to do what Dave Gettleman did, right? You can't have a GM who does shit like that. But at the same time, you also can't be afraid of doing what the Eagles do, which is void contracts, which is extending them, which, you know, I think that there's a lack, and this is my frustration with Joe Shane, is there's a lack of proactiveness. And it has been shown from him in very different forms. For me, the biggest thing is that not once in the 4 years since he's been here has he ever extended a player before the bye and before the season is over. Why are you not extending someone like Jermaine Illuminor? Why have you not even had that conversation with him? I don't care that the bye was 1 week ago. Why didn't you do it 6 weeks ago? It's unacceptable. This has been a huge problem under Joe Schoen, and I have a huge problem with that because you are talking about a team who we watch week in and week out who has issues with depth. And Joe Schoen is going to come on here and talk to us about having depth. Okay, well, why has he not done anything to help fix the depth? Like, he only focuses on drafts and he doesn't do anything proactive throughout the entire season. He's had weeks. There are so many players who are going to be free agents this offseason. And you know what's going to happen? Their numbers are going to rise and rise and rise because Joe Schoen didn't think to do it beforehand. And we have the cap space. He cut guys to free up cap space, which he's done every single year. So there's ways to get around the cap situation. And when you look at good GMs, they get around the cap situation and they build teams like the Eagles and the Chiefs and the Rams and the Lions, who year after year have the Bills, who have these very talented teams, and they manage to figure out how to pay the players. And that's something that Joe Schoen has not done. So I know you're weary of a new GM. I get it. I think it's fair to have that. But I just think that you're looking at a football team who has dealt with injuries year after year, and they never combat that. Do you know how many other teams have lost really good football players and they still win games? Why are we the only team that can't do that? And you can blame the coaching, fine.
We're the Niners.
Right. We did it 1 year in 2022. We had a god-awful football team and we somehow managed to win games. And ever since that, it's been literally impossible. We have backup quarterbacks. We have backup wide receivers, running backs, the whole thing. But not a single one of them, it's never come together. They've won 6 games and then they won 3 games and now we're at 2 games. And that is because of the GM. The GM has constructed this roster that when guys go down, nothing else can be done. You know that they're not winning the game. When the Giants were coming back today, did a single one of you feel confident that they were going to win that game? Because I sure as hell didn't after what I've watched for the last 4 years. So I get it. And, I was just saying this to someone who's a Steelers fan, like, the grass isn't always greener. Okay. We know that. The people who are like, fire LaFleur, fire Mike Tomlin, like, we've been through 4 really bad coaches. I would never be one of those fans screaming about getting rid of a coach like that, who's had a lot of history. Like, so many of us wanted to keep Tom Coughlin. Like, teams have their up and downs and whatever, but I think that you have to look at the totality of what Joe Schoen has done and the fact that he has done so much more bad than good. And you see it week in and week out on this football team that look, at the end of the day, none of us have any control over what happens anyway. But I think, I don't know if this will make you feel better. Like, he's just done a lot of things that are bad. And when you look at how a lot of other teams do it, like, they just manage to do it well and figure it out. And we've never done that under Joe Schoen ever. And it's been 4 years of this. And he's had every single year, you guys, he's had a top 10, 3 out of 4 years. He's had a top 10 pick.
I know.
What if there's multiples? Like, I'm sorry. I can't be making excuses as to why we should keep Joe Schoen. I get it. It's just, he's not going to be here and we have to accept that we're going to have a new GM. And I think maybe we should be optimistic that the new GM is going to be better than the old GM.
Yeah, well, again, that's the whole thing. We know what Joe Schoen's done and it hasn't been good. Again, we're 5-26 in our last 31 games. That's not good enough. He said it himself. He understands the question and it's not good enough. We need a new GM. The new GM cannot be worse than this. Can't. Whether he's picks the wrong play, whatever, by accident, you would think a team would have to win more games than the Giants do. Yeah. Jason, thank you. He says, all I'm saying is you've seen crazier things in the NFL in the draft. Yeah. Arizona draft Rosen, then Kyler the year after. We don't know what a GM will do. Well, Rosen sucked, and Murray was the Heisman Trophy winner. Murray's way better than Mendoza.
Yeah, Rosen was horrible his first year. And like you just said, Baddog, Kyler was a much higher thought of prospect than any quarterback in this draft class. So
but also look at Kyler now. You know, like it's the same thing. Like the grass isn't always greener. Like I know that people have their issues with Dart, but you cannot after 1 year. Did people after 1 year? I'm not comparing Dart to Josh Allen. I'm using this as an example. 1 year after Josh Allen, was everyone like, he's going to be an all pro and he's going to lead them to, division championships and whatever? Like, no one thought that. So I just think like we have to have some perspective. Jordan Love sat his entire first year. Bryce Young has taken until his third year to actually be a functioning quarterback. Like the grass isn't always greener, and assuming that just because we have the first pick that Mendoza is going to be better than Dart is a little insane.
The other thing is Arizona didn't change GMs. The same GM made that pick. I said that he should be fired. The fact he traded up to get Rosen, and then the next year he used the first overall pick on Murray. But Murray, that was the same GM that did that. It was not a different GM that made that pick. Sean, thank you. He says just to shut down the Mendoza talk. It's dumb.
Yeah, agreed.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
And if they keep Joe Schoen, which I saw someone else mention that why would Mara have the energy to do that? In my opinion, during Joe Schoen's press conference, he knew he was dead in the water. Like we've usually hear him speak more confidently and eloquently, and he's like calm and collected. And there was not an ounce of that. Like, I don't know if you guys watched it versus listening to it, but if you watched it, aside from the fact that he was 30
I was in the chat.
And you can see how like visibly uncomfortable he was. That's not something we've ever seen from Joe Schoen. So I think he knows that he's dead in the water. And I think it was very apparent during that press conference, and it's only going to continue. Like John Maris said back in January, and I don't know how long he knew about the cancer diagnosis or what, but he said in January, if I'm standing here a year from now and we are, looking like this, like all bets are off basically. So I don't think that there's any reason at this point to believe that they will keep Schoen. I mean, never say never, but I just think that John Mara is going to be very much upset about where the Giants are at right now. Even if they win a game or they end up with 4 wins as opposed to 3 from last year, I just don't see a world where he ends up keeping him. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen either. You just have to move on from him. All right, thank you, Don. I appreciate that very much. Jason says you only do void years when you feel as if you're close to Super Bowl contention. We haven't been, so he's been smart with the cap. He can void now.
That's fair.
I think he's been smart with the cap, and I agree that you don't use the void years until it's appropriate. The problem is we haven't gotten to that point. It's year 4, and how could you even argue next year you should start using them by that logic? Because how could you feel we're close off of this year? So we're gonna, at some point you need to start to see some upward trajectory, and we haven't seen it. But yeah, and hopefully that becomes the case now with Jackson Dart, but we're not there yet. Next year, hopefully, if we're able to trade down and get more assets and this team feels like they're starting to enter a Super Bowl window, then yeah, that's when you start to use void years so you can retain your players.
Yeah, this is a disaster here. Jason says, I have to respectfully disagree. A GM's job is to acquire talent and manage a cap. A head coach's job is to translate that into wins. If we had Vrabel, listen, there's no doubt coaching is a major problem with this team, which is why the coaches have all been fired and why we're going to have completely new coaches next year. But again, do you want head coaching candidates? Do you want the best, or do you want guys like Shane Bowen, who came aboard because Brian Dable was a lame duck head coach, and they ended up with Shane Bowen because no defense coordinator wanted that job, saying, well, if he gets fired, then I'm going to get fired. Are you going to attract the best candidates when you're going in with Joe Schoen, who if somehow miraculously he gets through the season and is the GM next year, if you're a head coach, are you going to want to come here where if, like I said, you get off to a bad start and Joe Schoen's fired, your job is over because there's no guarantee a new GM is going to come in and go, yep, you're the guy I want. New GM is going to want his coaching staff. So that is my major hang up with Joe Schoen. And yeah, there's talent here, but it doesn't win, and there's no depth here. And again, wins are everything. Yeah, I think the coach is fucking up a lot.
Yeah,
that's all that matters. Wins. That's it.
Also, Joe, I
like Joe Schoen,
always say that it's statistically impossible for every player that Joe Schoen has drafted to suck. Like that's literally not possible. So obviously the coaching has a big piece to do with it. Who hired the coaching staff? Joe Schoen did. So, that's my biggest concern when they're like, Joe Schoen is leading the head coach search. Brian Daboll was his buddy. He knew him better than anyone else. And he thought he was going to be a good fit. And not only that, he was surprised when he got fired, which is horrifying. So I don't know. I'm sure that some of the picks that Jill made, the players are better than they are. And with better coaching, they would get there. But I also think that they shouldn't have traded up for Jalen Hyatt. Like there's things that he's done that I think if he and his team were a better talent evaluator, they wouldn't have done, because there are other players who they could have picked in different scenarios over these last couple of years. Like, they picked Tay Banks because Wink Martindale loved him, and then they fired Wink Martindale. So, how much of that was on the evaluation versus what their defensive coordinator, was screaming at them to do. So I don't know. I don't think he's the worst talent evaluator, but he's most certainly not the best.
I just feel like you just got to reset everything. I just don't feel like you can go in with the same gym. It has not worked. And again, Chris, you mentioned there's no exact science when it comes to taking a head coach. We've seen it work on both ends here. We see Vrabel in New England. We see Ben Johnson, and I forget the guy's name in Jacksonville. They're coordinators. They have their teams playing at a very high level. But you look at the last 4 head coaches in here, they've all been coordinators, and they've all been terrible. The last time we had a successful head coach, he was a retread. His name was Tom Coughlin. The Giants, I just think that's what they need. They need a guy that has experience. It's a young group of guys. I feel like you bring in a guy like a McCarthy, or if Tomlin got fired, a guy like Tomlin, there's just a lot of respect there for a guy that's won a championship and has been in the postseason year in and year out and has won 10, 11, 12 games every year. He's played with some of the best quarterbacks out there. I feel like those guys might respect the guy a lot better than that. And I feel like that's what this team needs, is a dude that knows how to win, as opposed to this guy could be great. I feel like the Giants are not, I feel like McCarthy's a very safe pick. I feel like the Giants need a safe pick. Might not be what everybody wants, but I just feel like that's what the Giants need. But they can't be Joe Schoen, man. It's not because I don't think Joe Schoen has done a good job in some aspects. I do, but it's not good enough, and we just have to start over, man. It's bad. It's a bad.
It's year 4 for us in year 4 to win 2 football games at this point. It's just disgusting. It really is.
Yeah,
especially because it's not like our rookie quarterback looks like ass. Like,
no, he's good.
This whole defense, Joe Schoen built, and then they fired Wink Martindale and then hired Shane Bowen. So, that to me is a direct indictment on Shane, probably more than anything else. He re-signed Dexter Lawrence. He brought in Chauncey Golston. He's drafted Cordell Flott, drafted Drew Phillips, drafted Tyler Nubin, drafted Abdul Carter, drafted Kayvon Thibodeau, traded for Brian Burns, drafted Darius Alexander, brought in Javon Holland and Paulson Adebo. This is his defense. Literally every player.
Dexter Lawrence. That's the only one that's like not his.
Yeah, but he re-signed him smartly. Oh my God, great job. But
outside of Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence, there's really no, I mean, you could say Darius Slayton, but there's no real impactful player that's not from him. So this is his team at this point, and his team is not winning. I'll say the same thing I said.
Scott and Andrews are injured.
Yeah. I'll say the same thing I said about Daboll when I said, name me a head coach that's had 3 straight years like this and kept their job. Name me a GM that's had 3 straight years like this, 4 years into their tenure, and kept their job. He's not coming back, and I think most Giant fans realize that at this point. He's not coming back. It's not going to happen.
No, I think he realizes it too. Prentice, he says, draft the kicker that can. I told you, man. I'm dead ass serious. 4th round, Tate Sandell. I'm telling you, I'm being dead ass serious. Draft the kicker from Oklahoma. I'm dead ass. He ain't going to cost shit. Why would you sign a kicker and pay him? Draft one. We need one. It's ridiculous. Every other team's got a guy that can kick a 60-yarder at the end of a game or to tie a game or to put a team ahead at some point. Every time our kicker goes out there, it's an adventure. Is he going to kick the ground? Is he going to hit the upright? Is he going to not even reach from 50 yards? Is he going to get hurt in the pregame warmups? I mean, we don't even fucking know. Can he make an extra point? It's insane. Is he going to have a kick blocked? It's terrible. I've never seen
You're
anything.
such a joke. The fact that you just rattled off all of those things that have happened in like literally not even an entire year.
I
I
know.
don't even know if you talked about Koo, the fact that he just kicked the turf.
Really
instead
keep
of-
around.
Just
Yeah,
like unbelievable. Unbelievable, truly.
it is. It is absolutely crazy. With that said, that brings us to the close of another edition of Giants Collective, the post game edition. Again, the Commanders beat the Giants today, and we maintain the number 1 pick. As always, you want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Sleeper, SeatGeek, Duer, and Manta Sleep. Check us out on TikTok and Instagram. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and iHeartRadio. If you're watching us or listening to us on YouTube, if you could hit the thumbs up and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you have any friends that are Giants fans, tell them about the show. We'd love to have them in the chat. So with that said, we're going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. For Adrian and Entertainah, it's the Bad Diggity Dizzle, and we'll see you on Tuesday. We out. Peace. God, the Giants suck ass.